From the art of the deal to keeping it real. Live from the Simply Vegas studios, it's The Power Move with John Gafford.
Back again with another fine episode of The Power Move. My name is John Gafford. I am your host. With me, as always, to my left is the Bulgarian mongoose. I try to get away from it. I can't get away from it. The Bulgarian mongoose.
I was going to
Colt
say money.
The monochromatic mongoose with the gray, white,
monochromatic
and black.
mongoose. Yes, he is monochromatic mongoose today.
I
love it.
Chris
I like
it.
that.
I love it.
I think it's great.
Appreciate it.
I think
How are
it's-
you guys?
I think it's great. We're great. How are you, Counselor Chris?
I'm great. Thank God Colt changes his suit more than I change my jacket. Because
Always.
I just go for the blue and black. This guy's coming in different.
Yeah.
Bringing the heat.
Always bringing the heat, man. That's
He's
what makes him the Bulgarian mongoose is bringing the heat.
He's the Aaron Judge of suits. He's got at least 62 in this
He
closet.
is. He is. He's got
How do you guys
62.
feel about that? Everybody's
I think it's-
saying that he didn't. That's not a big deal because he is 62 and
I mean, dude, 62 is a big deal. I don't care.
The guy's a stud.
12 is a big deal. Like, you're a
No,
stud, but-
the guy's a stud, let's face it. But again, I stand by what I've said time and time again. What he did, he broke Roger Maris's American League record. That's fine. He, is not going to get Bonds' juiced out record. It's just, that's the record. It is what it is. But what Ohtani does in Anaheim hasn't been done since Babe Ruth, and that dude does it season in, season out, and that means he can hit home runs and strike dudes out from the mound, which is amazing.
Well, I don't
He's
understand.
amazing.
Here's the thing about baseball, not to divert too much. When I played baseball,
This is not a sports podcast, by the way.
I know,
We're
it's
doing
not
it for the first time.
But you'd think that a lot of the skills would translate. Like, why is it that hitters can't play the sport either?
Yeah.
Or for vice versa, why can't a pitcher bat? It's like you grew up playing Little League. You were in the cages. I know maybe in college they specialize. But
I never. Yeah, I thought the same thing because me moving from quarterback to being a safety was so much easier because I played quarterback.
just
I knew what they were
see
looking
where their
at.
heads are going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. No, it just,
Sports,
the level
yeah.
of skill those guys has is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyway, but you know what you need to play baseball? You know what you have to have is a high level of resilience, which oddly enough is what we're going to
Get
talk about
outta
today.
here.
See that
What?
segue?
Wow,
See the
that's
segue right there? How that,
I didn't even see
Hey, John
it come
came in
out.
sliding with that
I
one.
wasn't planning it, but you're going to serve it up. You're going to serve it up.
Came in sliding.
So again, if you've been listening to the podcast recently, I do have a book in the works, and we've been kind of breaking down different chapters that I have that are going in the books and talking about some things that we can do there. And today, I want to talk about, what are the most important things you got to have in life, man, which is resilience, the ability to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and move back forward and keep going. And here's an interesting story about resilience today, because I did something today that was kind of interesting. I decided that our company here, Simply Vegas, a real estate company that we own, we produce it just seems like talent after talent comes through this place. And, there's people that have built amazing businesses that at one point, I remember them starting from tap dead zero with us. Just being a young agent, starting on, either my team, somebody else's team, or coming up and then building an incredible business that is a real company that they now own. So, I just was talking to Gavin, we were reminiscing about that. And it was like, I want to let's build the next level of superstar agents. So let's use paying attention, right? So I threw a post out on the old internal Facebook. And I was like, hey, I'm looking to mentor the next crop of superstars. And either if you're a solo agent or if you're somebody that wants to be on a team and build that, hit me up. I'm going to do this kickoff call. Let me know. I had 99 of our agents on the first call today. Which was, for me, that was a lot of what I thought was going to get. And then of that, 75 of them signed up for coaching. And, obviously when you're dealing with it at that scale, I can't do it one-on-one because there's just not enough of me and too many of them. So we're doing it in a very systematic way, going through, we're going to use Facebook groups and just do it systematically. And there'll be 1 week when it's an AMA. But the point of the story is, when I was doing the pitch today, when I talk about if you want to come mentor with me and what if you want to work with me, there's something that you said to me a while back that stuck in my craw, just stuck right in my craw, and yeah, I wake up with it every morning and I go to bed with it every night, and it really did change me. I've always kind of suspected it, but it changed me when you said it. And what that quote was, so I'll let everybody hit this. And I told everybody the quote this morning on the pitch. That's why I'm bringing it up. I said, look, let me explain something to you. The reason that, because we're talking about why realtors hit a certain plateau and then they never get better than that. They never excel past that. You've been very proud. I pulled up the Dunning-Kruger slope on there where it had and it was the one right from Wikipedia too. So it had a point labeled the peak of stupidity, which I thought was amazing.
That is wonderful.
I said, yeah,
so
it wasn't
happy.
me. I wasn't me, and there we go. But I said one of the reasons that people plateau, and especially in this industry, as far as real estate goes, is because, you said this to me, and this was the quote. I'm going to try to quote you. Correct me if I'm wrong. You said, the reason people hate dealing with real estate people is because they are the most disproportionately paid people to the amount of knowledge they possess.
Right. Education, knowledge. And actual specific ability.
Yeah, specific ability. So in other words, what happens, and this is what I told people, I said, look, what happens is people get in this business and they're not very educated. They're not highly educated, and they start making a little bit of money, and then the ego kicks in. They get this ginormous ego, and they think they know everything, and they're not open, and they don't continue their education. I'll have you know, since the day I heard that quote, I have made it my mission in life to educate myself in every single way that I can. I join mastermind groups. I read constantly, from the Pocket MBA to, Scalable, to all of these books to catch it up. Because I realize, I see it when I'm out there dealing, with what I do now, with what my primary focus is, which is building JV corporations with these large brokers across the country. These brokers fall into two categories, and they do every time. And these are people that own big companies, right? They fall into, wow, I'm having a conversation with this person, and I feel like I'm the dumbest guy. I need to amp up my knowledge, which is why I really, really accelerated. And then started this 2 years ago. And I realized some of the people we talk to are professional business people. They just happen to own real estate companies.
Yep.
Right. And those are the people I was like, man, I really need to pick it up with my knowledge of things. And I've accelerated my knowledge by getting better. And then there's people that I talk to, I'm like, you were just really good at selling houses.
Yeah.
And you've just fallen into owning this company, and you don't really know why it works. You don't really understand why it makes money. You just kind of show up every day, and people kind of show up every day, and you just kind of shake hands and you just kind of move forward. And
you know the Peter principle,
what's
right?
the Peter? No, I'm dying to hear it.
The Peter principle is, at every corporate job, every job, you are promoted to your highest level of incompetency.
Okay.
The place where you end up at your career is the highest level where you've become incompetent to not get passed on to the next level. Yeah. So you're promoted to your highest level of incompetency.
Yeah.
So brokers aren't any less than that.
No, but I'm talking about, there's some people that own real estate companies that are beyond that.
I know lawyers, that
have excelled beyond their skills.
But the ones, like you said, that just kind of end up there, it's because nobody stopped them.
Yeah, nobody said anything.
And then they have nowhere else to go from that point. So,
So I think
it's
a natural
not
progression.
Even just real estate, right? I was having cigars with a hedge fund guy, and he goes, I'm in this line. I'm buying up this type of business. I go, really? Like, what are you getting into that? That's got to be hard. You have no experience. He goes, yeah, I thought so until I met with all the top people, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yep, I'm getting into it. He goes, you'd be shocked at how many times I walk in expecting to be the dumbest person in the room. He goes, these are billion-dollar stuff. He goes, and I'm the smartest. He goes, it's pretty sad. He goes, some people are just, like you said, they don't know any better, so they just work hard and
they've been promoted to their highest level of incompetence.
They have, but I think the connection that I'm trying to make between resiliency, which I want to talk today, and that thought process of ego is, to me, ego is the enemy of resilience. What I mean by that is people that have massive egos that think they know everything or think they know what they're doing. Those folks don't, like, if something goes wrong, it can't be them.
Oh yeah.
It can't be them. So if it can't be me, I'm telling you, because a big part of resilience when we talk about it is looking inward first, which I always do. But if it can't be them, then it's got to be, this thing, then they just avoid the thing, which I think kills resiliency.
I had a 2-hour conversation about that yesterday. I have a difficult situation that I'm dealing with. It's been very difficult for a couple years. Mm-hmm. And I'm sort of in a position as an attorney sometimes. I'm not the boss of these people. They're my clients. Yeah. I can't tell them what I want to tell them. I have to do it in a way that's professional, that looks after their interests. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of times you hear people in life, the same things happen to them over and over and over. And at no point do they ever look and say,
Maybe.
Man, like every time I go to do this, every relationship I'm in gets sour. No. It can't be me.
What's the common denominator in all of those relationships?
And
it's
so you can't do that. And you know, especially in that relationship, you can if you're a parent.
Yeah.
You can if you're a friend or in a different type of relationship. But I'm kind of stuck sometimes, not being able. So I have to find ways to massage that message.
Yeah.
Right. Where it says, okay, look, going forward, I'm not blaming you, but going forward, these are the policies and procedures so that you prevent people who don't know any better from shooting themselves in the foot.
No, for sure, from that happening. And I think when you look at these people that believe that it's not their fault, believe that they know everything, I think the first step to having a great level of resilience, if you don't know what resilience is simply the ability to pick yourself off the ground, dust yourself off, and go forward.
It's Halloween month, John.
Well, no, I get
the
it.
Jason Voorhees effect.
I know, but I'll tell you. I'll tell you something honestly, man. We've been dealing with something at my house that's been just gut wrenching for me and my wife, and I'll tell you what it is because it's getting better. My son, who is so strange, how kids are, you know what I mean? My daughter looks just like my wife. My son looks just like me, but my son has my wife's very kind of introverted, shy personality, where my daughter has my outgoing, never met a stranger kind of personality. And, and I think it might've been partly COVID. I don't know what it is, but my son developed this really acute, like angular, hard lack of social skills, like hard and noticeable, where you're like, this is awkward to deal with you, to talk to you, to understand this. So, we're going into this year, and it was coming out of, when COVID happened, we moved him to the small school because we wanted to just make sure that was all right. We moved to small school, and we move him, and then he goes to high school, and he's in, and it's the same thing like with lacrosse and everything else. Like his coach dropped him off the night, just looked at me and goes, he doesn't say nothing. He doesn't talk. And the problem is he's just so painfully kind of shy that he didn't interject himself enough at the beginning that now it's kind of like
those relations have developed
around him. And now he's kind of the guy on the outside because he hasn't gotten in there. And man, it's been gut wrenching trying to help him with those skill sets, which to me are so easy.
Right.
It's so simple for me, but for him, it's been so difficult. And we finally had a good breakthrough Saturday night. So that was good. It was homecoming and he went with a bunch of people. And literally, man, we sat down and started coaching him with basics again, how to win friends and influence people, just ask questions. Don't be it about you. Don't sit there and say nothing. You've got to engage with people. You got to do this. And it went, and it's funny talking about that resilience, and resilience is a muscle you have to develop. When we first we're talking about this, it was like, oh, I don't really like these kids anyway, blah, blah. And I knew that was bullshit, right? That's a defense mechanism.
Of course.
That's it's not me, it's them. Yeah. I don't really like them anyway, and blah, 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 defense mechanism. And what it turned out to be was just he just needed to kind of interact with them. And I think we made some headway there Saturday night, and he's making headway still. But, after Saturday, I'm like, you like these kids more than you thought you did, don't you? And he's like, yeah, we had a great time. It was funny. It was awesome, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, because you're seeing some success. So the moral of that story is the first part of building resilience has got to be like, you can't just say because it's not going your way, oh, it's that. Oh, I don't like those kids that much. I don't like this that much. I don't want to do that much. You've got to look inwardly and correct some behaviors within yourself or take stock of what you're doing before you just write situations, people, jobs, sports, whatever it is. You can't just write them off.
You say, it's so funny you use the word ego. And to me, I've trained myself not to see that as a pejorative, right? There's types of ego. Mm-hmm. There's positive ego and negative ego.
Sure.
And there's got to be a better word. And maybe I'm missing it personally. But when you say it's caring, I think ego, you can almost substitute out for this about caring. And like, I tell people all the time, I know what you care about by what you do. Yeah. I know what you want by what you do. So if you care about
actions,
people,
show me your actions, I'll show you.
So if you care about people, I want to be in this group. I just don't know how. You will keep trying eventually. But
see, I think
ego and confidence.
Yeah,
right? That's
I don't know. There's like a thing where it's like there's
such a thin line.
I feel like some people have it and they don't. I think that's the difference between type A and type B.
Right.
For type B, the world happens to them. Type A, people happen to the world.
Yeah.
So when you're a type A, like you and I, and it's not just, oh, you're overly energetic or you're talkative or whatever. Type A is a mentality. It's about locus of control. So if you have a high-centered locus of control within yourself, and that reflects ego, then you're more willing to see things in a way where I can change that, right? Type B people, they're the ones probably more prone to say it's their fault, right? They're doing it to me. So that comes down to classic A-B conversation.
But I think it's also it's a self-defense mechanism. Because the ego can be a protector in those situations, but it can also be, to your detriment where it's overconfident. And I think
tough also when you got a good looking son like yours, right? Like
it's really weird, man. It's really strange.
When you have somebody with good looks,
it's the weirdest
and they're
thing.
an introvert or whatever, people take that so wrong.
Oh my God.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're an ego. You're so stuck up. You're so this.
And
right?
that was my wife. That was my wife forever.
She never has a bad word to say when nobody's around, but people would probably met her. I mean, she's kind of,
she's quiet.
She's bubbly, outgoing, but she's an introvert.
Yeah. So
she's not energized like we are by
other people
and social
It's
experience.
with me, my batteries get filled around people.
They get drained
and have to be by themselves. Yeah. It's the same deal. But I think, here's an interesting thought. Resilience. Is it something that is innate in you, or is it something that is learned? I mean, I think it's both, but what do you think it's more strongly from your upbringing? Nature or nurture? What say you, Connel?
So I'm always a nature and nurture guy, but I'll give a quick story. When I was playing football, I was a big kid. So I was 11 playing with 15-year-olds. I turned 12 when they were turning 16. And I had to cut to make weight with 4 years age difference in tackle football. Now, you know the difference between a 12-year-old boy and a 16-year-old man? Right. These guys are driving to practice. So I was getting killed.
How could you be out there doing that?
Because I'm so stubborn. So what happened was I was obviously getting picked on. Like the 12-year-old, when you play football in that mentality, and someone's 12 against 16-year-old boys aren't like working on their mentorship skills.
Oh no,
some of these guys went on to play professional sports too.
Yeah,
and so they weren't working on their mentorship. You were a victim and picked on. Okay, and it frustrated me to no end. Right. So I would never let anybody see me quit. My dad, every practice, like, why don't you quit?
Right.
And it's just like, fuck them. I will never let that guy see me quit.
Yeah.
You cannot get one on over me. And that wasn't taught because, most sane people would just be like, this is not worth it. This is just a bad decision.
Well, here's the question. Is there such a thing as too much resilience? Can you have too much?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, because here's my point. Here's my little known fact. There's a book in my office called The Sweet Life. It was written by Dr. Liza Siegel. She was the on-set psychiatrist for The Apprentice. She was the one that when we were going through all the background checks and doing the final stuff, she was the one that was there giving us all the psychological tests. And apparently I tested higher in resilience than anybody ever did.
That was healthy.
Seasons. No, in all seasons. I tested higher in resilience than any contestant they ever had on that show. And I thought to myself, man, that's really weird. Like, because I don't even think about it, right? It doesn't even occur to me. She's like, no, because like we were talking about a story that I guess I told her when we were in one of our sessions when they were trying to figure out if you're going to carve anybody up on set. And when I was a kid, right? When I was a kid, like my parents got divorced when I was young and 6 years old. And my dad was gone. My mom had to work all the time, whatever. So it was just kind of honestly me and my sisters at home a lot from 6 years old on. That was it. And
causing fires.
No. And I spent a lot of my childhood across the street at my friend Grady's house, who had a stay-at-home mom. And she would always just kind of make us peanut butter and jellies and do that stuff. And you'd play sports outside and drink out of the hose and all those sort of things. And I never thought twice about it. Like it never even occurred to me. And she was like, no, that process at a young age, you weren't getting what you needed at home from a loving environment. So you just went out and found it.
So I was listening to a doctor. Now, I don't want to get people riled up, but
rile them up, Connel, rile them up.
It was on Public Enemy #1, Joe Rogan's podcast, and I rarely listen to him, but sometimes I'll flip through him to see if somebody I'm interested in is on there. And this doctor, he's a toxicology expert, a psychologist, but he's a physician as well.
Okay,
and starts off the podcast, and it says that the United States is a very toxic environment. And I said, what does that mean? And he explains. He goes, if I were a scientist and I had a petri dish and there was all these bacteria and 70% of them kept getting sick and were dying off, right? And record numbers of dying off, I would say, well, that environment has become toxic. Mm-hmm. So 70% of adults are on at least one psychiatric medication.
70?
Some
70.
on at least one medication. Some percent.
Which one are you on, Colt? What kind of they put you on? Your
Maybe I
person?
am normal, huh? Maybe I'm normal. I'm not on anything. Maybe I should be.
So he's talking about how highly medicated, how highly ill and sick we are, and how much depression there is, and anxiety, and all these things, right? Mm-hmm. And part of his theory was that we come from a communal species. Human beings were raised in villages and tribes forever. We don't do that anymore. Children, back in the Aboriginal days, the Cree, they didn't touch the ground till they were 2. Somebody always was carrying them. Somebody was always holding them. They were breastfed till they were much older. There was always nurturance from a mother. So they had this ability to be, they didn't have that, learned, hey, self-soothe thing. It was kind of interesting. I don't know how I feel about it, but his thesis is that we've become so centered away from, affection and nurturance and giving kids what they need, that these kids become hard and they become depressed because they haven't been nurtured and given what they need from a very young age.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of that too. I kind of subscribe to we can't, every time she cries, you can't pick her up because you're training her to cry. Right. But maybe you do need to. Maybe you do need to give these kids that strength early so that they're self-soothed, they're self-satisfied, so that they can move on to do all these things and they're not, hey, nobody cares about me.
Well, I know not recently, but Colt, you have experience with picking up girls and then they cry, right?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say
breastfeeding. Breastfeeding.
Yeah, it's been a while though.
Big in the bodybuilding community.
It's been a minute.
I think that somebody that had too much of it was one of the worst movies ever, Rudy. Right?
Oh my!
Too much.
Oh, perfect amount of resilience.
Rudy? No, it's way too much. Well, luckily, somebody picked this story up. If not, imagine if that guy would put that much effort into something he could have done, been a doctor or scientist, right? Like he wasn't going to be a football player.
No, but
sometimes you got to cut that off. In my opinion,
no, you don't stop if you're Rudy. Jesus,
yes,
don't
you
even
do.
listen. No, you don't.
Yes,
Just you
do.
Don't like the movie doesn't mean you don't cut.
He
it
wasn't
off.
going to be a football player.
I'm mad there wasn't a Rudy
but
too.
He used football to go. He didn't care about being a football player. He wanted to go to Notre Dame.
The whole movie.
He wanted to be an
Notre
Irishman.
Dame. He wanted to be an Irishman.
It was a dream to be an Irishman, and he did it.
That was it. And
guess what? He could have done it 10 other ways if he put that effort into stuff he could have
Listen to Colt. If you're not going to win the gold medal in equestrian, don't even get on the horse.
Get on a horse.
What's the point?
What's the point of it?
What's the point?
Well, think about everybody that's played college level sports.
Thousands of them.
I mean,
agree,
but they've had their lives. They go out and sell car insurance, and all of a sudden, hey, didn't you play for UNLV? Yeah. Oh, that's star forward I watched. The value, the extrinsic and intrinsic value of all that stuff is just absolutely infinite.
You know what the hardest part about that has got to be for those guys? Because like you get recognized, like, oh, didn't you play UNLV? Blah blah blah. And you were starting. You're great. And then inevitably, here comes this question.
Can I get fries with that?
No, what happened? No, what happened? What happened?
I get better.
Like, how did you go from there to here? It's got to be terrible.
You're the Al Bundy. You scored 4 touchdowns in one game.
Yeah, Paul Kai, buddy. Yes, I did at Paul Kai. Oh my God! But no, what I meant by having too much resilience was like
Rudy.
Not Rudy. Not
a lot
Rudy.
of Rudy shirts around too this weekend.
The point that I'm trying to make about this Colt is that people that self-sabotage themselves a lot, because there was a lot of my life where I spent doing a lot of self-sabotage, and you start to draw parallels between assets and liabilities. So is the question I started asking myself was, maybe if I wasn't so confident I could just make any situation rosy, maybe I wouldn't do half the stupid shit that I've done that pointed me into a corner. And I always, I would think about Al Pacino in that movie, what is it, Two for the Money, when he goes to the Gambling Anonymous thing, and he's like, you're not addicted to gambling. You're addicted to losing.
Yeah.
Because you never feel more alive than when you owe your bookie $5,000. You're never more alive.
It's true. No, but that's a really good point. But again, I think people that are resilient to that fault, they like being resilient. I like the fact that you can't call me a quitter. Yeah. You know what I mean? I like that. It's something I enjoy. Even if it is to your detriment sometimes, the aggregate effect of it is positive.
Yeah.
You can't pick and choose when you're going to be you, right? And so that's a lot of times. I wish I could do this a little differently. I wish I was a little bit that.
You can't pick and choose when you're going to be you.
Like just,
get that on t-shirt.
You know,
That's
at
good.
the end
That's
of the
a
day,
t-shirt.
just be you, be a good version of you, be conscientious, grow, like you said, spend time on yourself, make better choices, reflect.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's the key. You have to reflect that and be willing to make the
be
reps.
a better you.
And learn from it.
Be a better you,
from
but
it,
don't
right?
be not you.
Which we talked about last week. And again, if this is something you struggle with resilience, every growth, everything happens to get better through reps. You got to get reps. Like I told Hayden this weekend, like, bro, like he was going to school today. I'm like, you got to just make sure you're doing this. Make sure you do this.
Yeah.
Just get reps. I just want you to get reps. Always get reps. The more reps you get, the more it will become third nature, the more you'll get better with it. But, I looked up some things. If you're somebody that feels like when, and we all know them, when something bad happens, it's the hands go up and, oh God, I'm, the end of the world and it's going to be miserable and all those things. There's hope for you, Connell. There's hope. If you are someone that is a negative Nancy. Now, I mean, of course, I'm going to lean directly into my favorite location to find help, which is going to be Modern Stoicism through
Bottom of
Ryan Holloway.
alcohol bottle.
No, not the bottom. No.
The always at the bottom. The answer's at the bottom.
Yep, it's always darkest right before it goes pitch black. Yes, it is. But no, my first advice is to go Modern Stoicism. We talk about, it's funny, I said it here, and it's amazing when I say something random on here, right? And then like somebody that I really respect will hit me up and be like, dude, that was changing for me. Like I said, the first time I said memento mori on here, remember death, which is, anything that happens to you.
You're going to die one day, fool.
Ask yourself, is this, you're dying right now. Is this going to be worth?
Currently dying.
Currently dying. Is this worth? And I said that, and I'll never forget, my buddy George Cartwright hit me up. I was like, bro, I never heard that. And I was like, dude, read this book.
I think it's in my Facebook profile.
Yeah, memento mori. Is this worse than death? But here's the deal. Number one, if you're struggling with issues and they seem to swallow you and they seem to gobble you up and make your life not better, a good thing you can do is try to change the narrative. And a good way to change your narrative about things is through expressive writing. Journaling. Journaling is an excellent way to change your narrative, because if you replay things in your head, if bad things happen to you, and you just sit there and you continue to replay them in your head, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And we all know the people that do this. But if you can journal out what happened, journal out the issue, journal out the story, and then try to find a silver lining in that story. Try to find one thing that could create a positive out of it, that could create something good. Maybe you lost your job, and so now you don't have your job. So you have time to sit at home. And they're sitting at home. You have time to write letters to the Academy Awards people and implore them never to give Tom Hanks another Academy Award.
You know what I was thinking
That's
the
a
other
win
day?
for Colt. That's a win. Would that be a win for you?
Tell me how great a movie Forrest Gump would be if Nick Cage played Forrest Gump.
I'm not gonna.
Nicolas Cage.
I'm not
should
gonna
have
say
been
anything
Tom
bad
Hanks.
about that idea. Actually, now that I think about it,
Tell me that would not be an amazing movie.
just totally.
Saving Private Ryan.
And just play
Nick
it
Cage?
straight like Nick Cage. Not
just
even
Nick Cage.
Just
Yeah,
straight.
Tom
Have you
Cruise.
watched a movie with Nick Cage playing Nick Cage? I haven't
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Oh my
Is
God.
it?
It's wonderful.
I'm sorry to get off,
I
but
like to
yeah.
cut the
could you-
grass so much, I cut that grass for free.
Yeah.
I could watch
cut the grass for
Castaway. I could have watched Castaway if Nick Cage was in it.
Just so
Underrated.
essentially, just go back and replace every Tom Hanks movie with Nick Cage. Is good.
Name a bad movie.
With Nicolas Cage. I actually, what's funny? Here's
Snake
a weird.
Eyes,
Here's
amazing.
a weird. How weird is this? Okay, check this out. I forgot to tell you this.
Nick
This is a weird
Cage.
story. I'm gonna do a Colt. I'm gonna totally steal the podcast. This is a weird story. So as we were walking back from the Raiders game, we were talking about your gift from your wife that she got you, the gun, which was what?
My wife. So when we first got married, she said, "What kind of wedding present do you want?" John and I have the same thing. Or
Yes.
if I wanted something, I'd have it. Like if I really wanted it, I would buy
Got it. Yeah.
Right. Other than brand new Ferrari. But if I wanted something ticky tack, I would get it. Because if I think about it, I just go buy it. But my wife, I said to her, "I want the double golden plated guns that Castor Troy had in Face Off." And whatever. And she's like, "What? They don't exist. Those aren't things you just go buy. There's not some." So. Anyway, she got me, I don't remember what she got. She got me an Apple Watch instead. So last year, for 2 years at Christmas or whatever, she had the guy who was on 90 Day Fiancé.
Okay, see, you just killed my story.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay though. But here was the point. The point was you were talking about that.
Yeah.
At the game, and then we went home after the game, and we're sitting there, and she's watching 90 Day Fiancé, and the little guy's on there, and she goes, "What does this guy do?
Gringo
What does he do
guns.
for a living?" And I go, "I don't know." So I Google it, and up pops, he's the seller of the Same gun we were talking about 30 minutes. And he's the only guy where you can get it.
Only guy who makes it. 24 karat gold,
Yeah.
45 ACP, 1911 Springfield.
I just thought that was really weird.
You know,
See, Tom
45.
Hanks couldn't have played that character. Tom Hanks could have not have played.
That'd be pretty good.
He couldn't play it. Nick Cage could play every Tom Hanks character.
No.
Tom
Nick
Hanks
Cage
couldn't.
plays John Travolta in that movie.
No. Well, back to how to build resilience. Now that this is totally off the rails. Back to how to build resilience.
I can't believe that Nick Cage has become a proxy for Tom Hanks in your mind.
Yes. I love that. I love that, though.
That's great.
Face your fears, not face off your fears. Just leave Nick Cage out of this. Face your fears. Great way to build resilience because, again, a lot of people will build things up bigger in their mind than they are.
Oh, yeah,
You know, one of my most liked ever Instagram things that I put up, whatever it was, most shared, most liked, was I put up a thing that just said, happiness can be found on the other side of a difficult phone call. Because right now there are people that are listening to this that have lost friends, have lost loved ones, have lost people close to them simply over some fucking nonsense that blew up into nothing.
Sure.
And it's amazing if you just pick up the phone and call those people, what will happen?
But do you think sometimes
That's what I was
better to
literally
not
just going over
the
that
reason
in my
it
mind.
gets that big is because I don't know.
I
think if people get pushed off because of one or two.
Well, hang on.
Things
There's
it's
a
meant
flip.
to be.
There's a flip side of the coin, though, because the flip side of the coin is there's also a lot of people taking a lot of unnecessary shit
Oh yeah,
that if they just make a phone call and establish
Side.
better boundaries and better rules for the relationship, they will be happier.
That I completely
agree.
get behind.
Two-sided coin, boys. You cut
is
me
a-
off
No.
before I got to the other
No,
side.
no,
that-
but just
that-
there's people
yeah.
that are not in your life anymore
For a
that,
reason.
For a reason.
and you may miss them because you remember the good times.
right.
Just like girlfriends, there's times you go, was she really that bad? Was she, I really enjoyed this time. We went frolicking
she
in the
was.
meadows or whatever. But then you think about the times,
She
when
cheated
it's
on
a
you.
Tuesday, morning, and it's like,
Stabbed you. Yeah. No, but it is. But especially like a difficult phone call. I told somebody last Friday, I go, make that goddamn call, right? Like, get it over with. This is going to ruin your whole day. And you're going to let it go till Monday. Now it's ruined
Yeah.
your whole weekend. Get those phone calls out of the way. That is something that I start my day off with, like
the hardest part
worst.
first.
Yeah.
But
Worst
so
calls.
do you think that's a part of resilience? Is the first step? I think resilient people take the first step. Now you're talking about journaling. Talk about the value of journaling. Well, it's very valuable, right? If you have the motivation to actually go get the pen and sit down
Yeah.
and then do it. The hard part of journaling is doing it. The hard part of making that phone call is
Hard part
picking
of
up
it.
the phone.
Yeah.
It's not doing it. Doing things is very easy.
Well, okay, back again, like I was talking about my coaching program I started today, right? So I told him straight up, you join this, you're going to have things that are going to make you uncomfortable that you might not want to do. You're going to have to share things to the group here in this closed Facebook group you're not going to want to share. You're going to have to interact with people in a way that maybe you don't want to interact with them because that's how you build a tribe. That's how, like, the intimacy that you share with these people as far as what you're scared of, what's causing you issues. And then on the flip side of that, what's working that you're willing to share out. That is going to create connection amongst these people. Why are you shaking your
I
head now?
never share your. Do we need to go over 48 laws of
48 laws
No.
of
power,
Always
John?
lie-
We do
always
not.
lie to
No.
people.
We do not
The
share
reason,
our
no,
fears.
listen, no, I disagree because the reason being that the reason that I need them to share their
So
inconsistency.
you can step on them.
no,
Use it against them. I know what you're
not
doing,
so I
John.
can use it again. No,
There you go.
No.
I like it,
The
John.
reason-
I like it. Let me be part of this group now.
the
Colt is
reason.
going to be an agent provocateur.
Jesus
He's just going to be an absolute Manchurian candidate. Just
The
slipped in.
During that time, you told me about this thing.
I'm going to
No.
use it against you. You're my enemy,
I'm not talking.
Bob.
Listen, I'm talking about limiting beliefs when it comes to building business, and the reason that I need them to share is because through hearing other people's limiting beliefs and understanding what they are, I guarantee people are going to come in with like, "Well, my limiting beliefs are I don't think I can make $100,000." Like just some bullshit, frivolous thing just to have an answer. But if they hear somebody else that's really sharing a limiting belief, like I don't think I'm good enough, or I don't think I'm smart enough, or I don't think I'm good looking enough, or whatever it might be. But if they hear that from somebody else in an honest way, it'll then maybe put the mirror to them and they'll be more honest with themselves. Because I need brutal honesty as a starting point.
yeah.
That's what I need.
I'm not talking about your agents in general. I'm not talking about that. So please, if this isn't about Simply Vegas agents, but have you ever been on those continuing real estate classes?
Oh, Jesus. I just did it.
Now, hold on.
Don't even start.
But I mean, seriously, this is like a practical piece of advice.
Hour.
Every one of those people, when you talk about undereducated or whatever, they don't understand how sort of high level stuff is supposed to look.
Yeah.
They don't, because they haven't.
This is not our agents, by the way.
This is not your agent.
There's a lot of them, but this is not
I'm not
ours.
talking about your agents.
Man.
I'm talking about people will sit there and they'll just give totally meaningless anecdotes about whatever because they want to hear themselves speak.
Of course.
And they think they have something valuable to share and they don't.
Dunning-Kruger.
Yeah,
Who knows the least says the loudest.
It's the most Dunning-Kruger thing you can do. But your program, just a simple piece of advice, make them actually submit you something before class.
Well, hang on a second. No. Here's the point. The point with this is they have to upload it to YouTube, to the Facebook group as a video. And my point with this is how we're sharing it.
Can we get on this, man?
This is no, you can't, you Machiavellian son of a bitch. This is straight up just they have to do this. But my point was,
that's good.
My point was, like today, like we started with 78 people today. I will weed that to probably 50 tomorrow because 28 of them will not have done the easiest.
Yep.
Today was the easiest thing that I'm going to ask them to do over the next 90 days, which was share a video, introducing yourself to the group, say how long you've been in real estate, and put your name and your phone number below it so everybody has your name and contact info.
What if
that was the easiest thing to do? And if you can't do that,
do you get one strike?
Why? Would
do
I
you
do
get
more
one
than
strike?
that?
Do you get two strikes?
No, you get one strike. You get one strike.
Something on that easy.
There is no strike. There is no strike because if you can't do that, if you can't do that, I'm not mad at you for it. But if you can't do that, how am I going to ask you to share your biggest limiting belief? And
my wife had brain surgery last night. I literally went to make the video. My wife had brain surgery.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Let's not be stupid here.
But I'm saying but people will have a million of those excuses.
Right, but my point is we did this meeting this morning. We did this meeting this morning. I'm going to send out one message to everybody to say, guys, if you're in, you got to do this today. The clock is ticking by tonight. This is it. I need your video. If you're not in, then don't be in.
So you've let the ground rules come out. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Because the point being is, and here's the issue. If you have a bunch of people that are totally committed to something, and then you have 20 people standing on the sidelines watching them do it,
they're out.
It makes them self-conscious about what they're doing. I want all in. I need all in people. Mm-hmm. I need all in. That's what I need. And that's what we're going to get. And, these people will build a level of resilience for doing this because one of the things we talked about and why the video is so important in real estate, why am I doing this? Like, what's the point of having them share these little videos of themselves? Because so much of our business is social media marketing, is being out there. If you can't make a video in a private group with 25 other people in it that says your name in it, how the hell are you going to survive in this business in 3 years?
It's funny.
You're not.
Remember that thing I shared of the Goggins thing with you guys?
Dude,
you want to talk about resilience.
I'm on Mars.
I'm running to Jupiter. But his resilience, one of his greatest speeches on resilience was when he was joining the Navy SEALs, he always saw these SEALs as being better than him. These are superhuman. I'm not on their level. I got to get to where they are. Then he gets there and realizes they're just like him.
Yep.
That he's like them. So he's like, and then the goal is to be unordinary amongst unordinary men.
Yep.
Like to be that next level, to be like that. There's nobody's different than you.
Yeah.
It's literally just decisions and choices.
But you know what tells people that ego. Your ego says, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart. I can't do this. Oh my God. People will laugh. If I do a video, people will laugh at it.
Right. 100%.
It's your ego lying to you and holding you back. And I was very clear to everybody. I was very clear. If you want to do this, you got to check that at the door because it's costing you money. It's hurting you. It's not helping you. It's hurting you right now. So, look, man, this stuff won't be for everybody, and that's fine. I told everybody, if you don't want to do it, I'm not mad at you. I'm not at all. I'm here to help, and I want to change some lives. But I know what it takes to do that because I've worked with so many people over the years in this industry. I know what it takes to get to that level, to do the next thing. And if you've got to find that in yourself and have that level of resilience that you're willing to submit and let go of your ego a little bit and maybe feel like you're doing something that's outside your comfort zone to grow. Yep. And I'm super proud of the people that jumped on and made it happen. I really am, which is great. The next thing this says scientifically is you should have self-compassion for yourself. Not enough people are kind enough to themselves in difficult situations. They immediately, now again, I say, look inward before I look outward. What did I do? What could I have done differently here? But to be very clear, it's okay if the answer to that question is nothing. It's okay if there's like there doesn't necessarily have to be an answer that it's you. I mean, it might be external forces that you have nothing to do with that are affecting you.
Not ever given up attorney-client privilege, but you're one of the first people that will call when something happens and go, am I being the asshole?
Yeah. Let me. And I think when
AITA, am I the asshole?
Yeah.
If I am, let me know.
And when I lay it out to you, I give you all the details.
Yeah,
I tried to tell you every single end of it. But yeah, I do. Chris is my, am I the asshole counsel? He has been forever. Because I don't get it.
Yeah, years. And I'll just be like, well, here, have you tried this? Or, oh, no, that one's clean.
Yeah, it was clean. Yeah, I didn't do that one. That was fine.
That was good.
But yeah, but
there's a lot of that too. Like clients, there'll be clients that you fire. Some clients will fire you just purely off of you're not compatible with everybody in the world.
Well, the problem is though, for a lot of people, they'll get in situations with incompatible people, and it'll be a negotiation. Yeah. So. John was talking about improving yourself, right? One of the number one books I tell people to read always is Getting the Yes, the Fisher Uri.
Yes, yeah.
Getting the Yes, because what it does is it really kind of breaks the mold of what people think a negotiation is supposed to look like. So I did the Harvard negotiation certificate. I went through that whole program.
Did it look just like $1 Million Listing?
Yeah, it's basically just that.
Same difference.
But you have people and you're negotiating with people from all over the world, lawyers, powerful people, smart people, and you get to these things and you learn. But there's this book they wrote called it's one of the next ones after Getting the Yes. Yeah. It's how to negotiate with irrational people, because there's still things you can learn and do. Right. So when John's talking about forgiving yourself, realize that sometimes you're going to hit a brick wall, and feel that, understand it's a brick wall, and then try to find ways around it.
Yeah. Well, it says right here, learning from your mistakes. Very difficult to have resilience if you don't learn that if I touch the stove again, it's going to burn me once again. Yeah. And I think that sometimes that involves people too, man. You got to understand that, I say all the time, when people show you who they are, believe them. And I think sometimes we really want to make people better. That you need to take that.
No.
You all right? Sure. Dumping that.
Oh, sorry.
Is that your wife?
Is that bothering you? I'm listening to you guys.
I guess if you want to get some popcorn, Colt's got to make a call if you're watching this on YouTube. Sorry about that.
Look, the cat fell out of the tree.
You forgot there's a camera. It's been there for like memes. A year.
I'm looking at some memes.
It's been there for a year. I don't even remember what I was talking about now.
There you go.
Thanks, Colt. You once again ruined the podcast.
Learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, you got to learn from your mistakes, right? Like most people, you know what I used to love? And I used to tell every broker they should do is when there's an issue in the company, throw it out publicly through everybody. Like, learn from your mistakes, but learn from others is better, right?
Well, that depends. If they're your mistakes, feel free to share them. If they're other people's mistakes, keep them to yourself.
Well, it's funny. I have a channel on. I have a channel. I have a channel on onto our Slack.
Oh, look at this guy
with two of our companies.
I
was in the Slack channel for our companies, and it says like for title company, it says escrow issues. And when there's a problem or something happens, which inevitably it will, because nothing's ever perfect, but if a problem comes up, I want the EOs to put something. I want it in there in their own words, what happened, what we did to solve it, and how we move forward, so everybody can learn from it at once. Sure. We started that maybe 6 months ago, and it's been phenomenal. You would think that. At first people were kind of timid about like, well, I don't want to look like, I don't know.
An idiot, yeah.
And now they're like, this is what happened. Because I balanced that out with another channel called Escrow Wins. And every time somebody sends like a thank you card or a great job or whatever it is, they're quick to put it in there. So it's become this place where it's like a safe space where they feel free and not attacked to share that information. It's made the company so much better.
That a lot of that stuff when you talk about management, like getting an MBA, organizational design, human resource management, organizational behavior, a lot of things are like lip service when you take them in college, and then you get these amped up people, and they just don't do a good job of implementing them.
Yeah,
like what I mean. It's reward employees. There are these platitudes that you hear about in companies, but very few companies I've ever worked for did a good job of actually creating that. Like allow there to be a debrief session that is truly not going to come back to 48 Laws of Power with Colt. You know what I mean? Where you can say, oh yeah, I did this, I ate it, and everybody's like, okay, yeah, how did you, the debrief. That's why Air Force pilots go into a badgeless debrief after a mission. And they say, what happened? And you can tell your commanding officer that they were wrong.
Well, I think when it comes to business and companies, I think resiliency does come from leadership, and it will permeate one way or another. If you don't have it, it'll permeate. If you do have it, will permeate. You look at what happened, to Clear Title, that company over the last several months. We took some hits there. We lost a key employee. We had to let go of a few people that made some egregious mistakes. And expensive mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah, that I paid for. And the clients are all intact, but we had to write some checks there. And business suffered. It suffered, and it forced us to we could have done one of two ways. We could have said, look, we're going to pout about this and just go business as usual, or we're going to dive headfirst into this, and we're going to come out the other side of it stronger. And that's what we've done. And I've been very clear with the messaging to that company from the day one of the first issue over there that, look, guys, we're going to get better. And one of the challenges with that particular industry, and I think anybody that's ever worked in it, listen to this, will understand this as well. Escrow officers or closers, whatever you may call them where you are, they all kind of have their own style, right? It's like a golf swing. Like this person swings like this person swings like that, blah, blah. And one of the hardest things it took for us to get done, it took us much longer than you would think it would to get this done, but was to get a process that was agreeable to all of them. Like they all said, okay, from A to Z, we will all do it exactly like this, because they all had input to it. And they all had, well, I don't know if that, we let everybody, but everybody now, it doesn't matter which escrow officer they're used. They all do it exactly the same way. So it is a consistent experience for every agent, for every client, for everything that happens. The emails are the same. The flow is the same. The workflow. Everything is the same for everybody as it is. And I don't think we would have gotten there had we not had constant
input.
Just constant reassurance, constant reassurance that, guys, look, I know that sales are down right now. I know things are, look, we're going to turn this around. We're going to get better. We're going to do this. We believe in you guys. We believe in all of you guys. We believe in getting it done. I think that's kind of the advantage of the small company instead of the big company, where you're just like, oh, this manager's not getting it done. Let's whack that manager and bring somebody else in. Or, I think the resilience, they rallied around it. Our staff rallied around it. And because of that, I don't know that if we would have had those issues with losing those key people, I don't know that the rest of the staff would have rallied around a singular concept like that. I don't know if they would have. I think it took a little adversity.
Sure.
And it took that in the company to make those people want to rally together.
It's like how the Raiders are going to come back from 1-4.
Oh my God, dude! I mean,
I don't want to talk about. I honestly
can we say one thing real quick though about that?
Resilience this is a perfect example.
I feel so bad for Josh Jacobs. I feel so bad for him because if nobody else on the team, that dude deserves better. He absolutely deserves better.
Did you know that they didn't pick up his 5th-year option?
Shut up.
Swear to God, look it up.
He
is the guy who does deserve the most, and he's not getting it.
It's just okay. Question: do we think McDaniels makes it through the season?
I don't need him. That last play call,
that
was enough for me to see what I needed. Yeah. But resilience is the idea. Like, let's say they showed up 0-3 and they won 1-3. That's resilient play because they're in every game.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if you're the Carolina Panthers? Do you even show up? Do you lace up?
No. Well, they're talking about. I was reading an article today. They're talking about trading Christian McCaffrey. Maybe
just burn it down.
Burn it down. Why not? Get draft picks and start again. Get draft picks.
Could you do that if you're a player? I couldn't tone it down. Like if I was on a team like that, like if you came to me and was like, "Oh, we need to screw up some stuff," I'd be like, "No."
Well, I think
no, because they're all resilient. Not to like.
But you're not getting to that. You're not getting to that level of life.
But I think when you look at it, here's the difference, man. Like you look at the pros, even when they lose. Now, obviously, Devontae Adams is a little upset this game, which is why he shoved a camera guy.
Can we talk about that?
That's stupid.
The guy was in his way.
That guy was getting. Like, are you dumb? He's in a helmet. He's like running around. The guy's like, just get out of here.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Dumb.
In most cases in the pros, win, lose, or draw, those guys are smiling in the middle of the field. I mean, you just don't see.
They're shaking hands.
They're shaking hands, smiling. They're laughing. They're whatever. They get it. They're fine. Yeah. You see a college game where they take a close beat, and man,
hearts are broken.
It's heartbreaking loss. And so I think you worry about.
There's certain people that are not. Tom Brady's not out there.
No, he's not.
Michael, no, he's not, dude. Tom
He's out
Brady
there
used to
shaking in the
walk
middle.
off.
Dude,
He used to walk off all the time.
How great
back
was
in
the
day.
meme I sent you guys? It's the guy that's like 100. They're like, look at Tom
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Get his
that
legs
was fun.
going.
No, but there's certain like Michael Jordan, same thing. He wasn't out. Like there's
Maybe that's too much resilience. Maybe what John was
Nah,
talking
I
about
don't
earlier.
think-
You get maybe exceptional people and exceptional at their craft. Because again, Tom Brady might be a shitty husband.
Did you watch?
You might be the Tom Brady of
Probably.
husbands compared to Tom Brady.
Oh, he
right?
probably is. But did you watch the Redeem Team on Netflix?
No.
Talking about Kobe. What a beast that guy was. I had no friends, no nothing, but they're
He
out in
was
Vegas.
so
They're in
dedicated.
Vegas partying all night, coming in at 5 a.m. and Kobe's
Already there shooting baskets.
at the gym. Like
Yeah, that's why he's excellent, because he's the most resilient person at what he does. Now, gifted with being 6'7" or 6'6",
Yeah.
and
but you could get
certain
high
inalienable
level if you
characteristics.
truly
See-
put that effort into anything.
Yeah.
Name
I
one
thought you
thing
did
on
like Rudy.
I think
Oh,
that's
because-
more determination than
No.
resilience.
Yeah, that is
Kobe.
determined.
But but the resilience when you get a sprained ankle, when you hurt yourself, when you do this, when you do that.
And he played through it.
And he was 18 when he came on the team. Those guys were fucking with him, right? When he first was joining the team, and he walked out there, he's like, "You're not fucking with me."
Yeah.
Like he's just, there's nothing you can do. I'm leading this team. I'm 18 years old
Yeah.
with the Shaq, with the whatever, and so that's ultimate resilience. And I think a lot of it, we're joking around. This isn't a sports podcast, but sports is such an integral, important part of what gives me a certain amount of resistance and resilience.
Yeah. Well, watching Florida State tank the last two games is not exactly getting me a lot of sense of resilience.
God, you were
what they're
happy
doing.
3 games ago.
Dude, I was so happy. I was so and they lost so stupidly. It's terrible. Okay, we're literally going all in on sports.
I know.
Well,
It's just one of those
I
weeks.
promise for the rest of the sports, for the rest of the podcast, the only sports will be Colt's hatred for Rudy
And
He may-
equestrian, maybe.
He may go off on that.
Imagine Nick Cage as Rudy.
Best movie ever, all of a
Best
sudden.
movie ever.
Imagine
Cage or
Nick
Rudy.
Cage as a manager of a Chili's in Utah.
You know what? He would have towed my car. He would not have towed my car.
done it.
He would have done
Man.
it. Would have done it.
So
You know what?
underrated.
I think on that
So
note, we're going to wrap it up.
underrated, Nick
Listen,
Cage's.
if you're somebody that's out there and you're dealing with a lot of adversity, I would say understand that you're not alone, man. You're not. It's not just you. Everybody's dealing with a lot of stress right now. As the markets turn, I mean, you're going to need resilience. Heading to what you're doing. The economy's not getting any better.
Hey, I don't want to segue and rehash this episode because, went off the rails a little bit because I just am so pained by sports right now. But my father-in-law sent me this thing in real estate specifically. Let's turn this to something very specifically real estate. And it said signs that
Hold on. Your father-in-law is super smart real estate.
he did very well developing. He's Tony Musso of Distinctive Homes, wonderful man, very smart, a mentor of mine in a lot of ways. We talk a lot. We've spent hours in the booth together, just back and forth. And
I just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah,
so
but a lot
people
of-
weren't thinking some random.
Oh, no.
suits.
I have,
Got overalls, whittling something
My
on the front of
father-in-law
a
said the same
trailer
thing.
in West
Yeah,
Virginia.
maybe I haven't mentioned that, but yeah, he was like a titan around town. He did very well, and he's enjoyed his life and the successes that he's had. But he's seen the up and down. He's a developer that went through the 90s, the 80s, to 2008 to 2015. He had that whole period in his time, and he sent me this breakdown of what happened last time and what happens this time, and the indicators of how many of those things are happening again. Right? How many people own more than one home that you meet at your barbershop? How many people have this? How many people? And they say, well, the thing is, it's different though because there's all this equity. It's all this equity. And I was just wondering, until there's not. Yeah. What do you think? Just
listen.
I didn't know if this can be an appendix to the conversation.
No. Here's the thing. I don't think. Again, I do not believe there'll be a crash in Las Vegas. I think as long as California continues to have horrid economic policy against their residents, I think we'll be fine. As long as the town continues to grow through professional sports, which it does, and become a major metropolitan area, which it is, I think we'll be fine. As long as hedge funds wanted to commoditize single-family homes as rentals, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
The stuff that's when those crashes of real estate before, that was a mom and pop business. Owning rentals was a mom and pop business. It was not a Wall Street business.
Right.
It is an absolute Wall Street powerhouse now. But they're now building new homes strictly for the purpose of being rentals.
K&Bs.
Yeah, I mean, it just the market has, the idea of what a single family home is has changed so dramatically from 2006 to now.
But what would you tell a realtor in this business right now with softening sales, softening? Well, I know we talked about it before.
You're not going to see as much turnover, right? People are going to have to sit in these homes or these properties for a while now.
No, listen, I same thing I told everybody the other day. I did a video. I think I got a couple thousand views on Facebook. And it was essentially because it was the great purge that just happened last week.
Did it happen?
Of course it happened. They lost 15 to 20% of the agent counts.
They did.
Oh my God, of course.
Wow, I didn't hear about that.
Of course, because all the COVID realtors, and I'm going to get a real estate license because this is easy, that have been popping 1 deal, 2 deals a year, whatever it is, did not renew their dues. Because the same habits, the same effort, the same everything that got you to what you made last year is not going to repeat. You got to double down your efforts. You got to be much smarter about how you work. It's the reason that I had 99 people on that call today about getting mentoring. It's the reason that I got 78 people to sign up. That's the reason for that, because they understand the effort it's going to take to get through this. Now, where there's a will, there's a way. If it is, if it's a good idea for somebody to buy a house, if it's a good idea right now, and it's not going to always be a good idea, but if it is a good idea, if you're going to stay for 7 years, it's a good idea. But we have programs, and you're starting to see the markets adapt to the market. What I mean by that is, like, look at Streamline. Like, we have a program where sellers can buy down the rate 2 points for buyers for the first 2 years. So really, you're speculating the market for 2 years, assuming it will probably go down, and then you can refinance out of that loan. But now sellers who for 6-7 months ago were like, nah, some of your highest and best and needs to close in 10 days.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I'll pay whatever closing costs you want.
Through a rate buy down.
Give me my number and I'll do this buy down and go. But we have all of these programs and you're seeing the market react and change to that.
Yeah.
So where there's a will, there's a way, man. What is it, Jurassic Park, when life finds a way?
We were too busy thinking about whether we should get a real estate license.
Exactly. No, we should. No, life finds a way, man. That's it. And the people, and honestly, we haven't had a downturn in so long. That's why we have so many real estate people. We need a downturn to flush some of these people out.
No, and again, that was kind of just have that back and forth. I'm like, I wonder what the landscape is going to do. And I was asking.
Imagine this.
Unaware that
let me ask you this. All right. Now, obviously it's a little different, but let me ask you this. Imagine there were times in the law profession where there were ebbs and flows in the amount of lawsuits that happened.
Sure.
And you could hit a dry spell and it would wash some of the crappy attorneys that we both know out of the business.
Thank God.
Would that be a good thing? No,
thank God lawyers write all the laws.
Not you, but I'm saying, would that be a good thing? Would that, honestly, being an attorney, would that be a good thing or a bad thing? If you could wash some of the maybe half in, half out, maybe.
That's a good question, but law is such a specific thing. It's so much more difficult. And again, this isn't a slap on realtors. I'm a realtor. Mm-hmm. Becoming a lawyer is 40,000 times harder than becoming a realtor.
Question.
Okay, so your license is very valuable and you can do a bunch of stuff with it. It's an unlimited license. You can be a real estate professional and an agent with a lawyer's degree. So what happens is people keep their licenses active. They may not practice that much, but there's no need to wash them out because there's so much to do in law.
But let me ask you a question. Are there people right now, you don't have to name names, but would you say there's people practicing law somewhere that probably should not be handling cases, as you've had to be on the other side of the table with them going, good Lord, with this guy?
Yes, but they don't a lot of times either, right?
Right, but that's worse. That's exactly what I'm talking about. They're the guys that take one case every 5 years and screw it up because they don't do enough of it to know what the hell they're doing. Those are the realtors that I'm talking about that need to go. The one deal a year, the 2 deals a year.
That's 100 times more prevalent in realtors, though.
Agreed.
Because most lawyers will just keep their license inactive if they're not practicing.
I'm not making an actual argument. I'm just
no. It's just interesting because I was wondering. I'm thinking about it, but you got to remember. So for a lawyer, in the down times, I'm just doing bankruptcies.
Yeah. Okay, let's put it this way. What if on the first day of practice you decided you don't need a practice team and you could wash Rudy out right there? Good idea.
I'm doing it. Just beat it, kid. You got heart, but beat it.
Come on, Colt. Pile on. I laid that on the rim for you. Pile on.
Did you not watch the? We got to do it.
The Notre Dame game was here.
Let me keep talking.
Oh man!
Did you watch the Hard Knocks with the Lions?
I did.
No. Rico, baby. You all need a Rico on your team.
I love the Rico.
Rudy is, I'm telling you guys, horrible movie.
Okay.
Nick Cage playing
Just
it.
pretend it was
Nick
Rico.
Cage playing it would have been an amazing movie.
I think
would
you've
have
got a point.
I think you're going to have more issues with investments and commercial real
But
estate.
let me bring
commercial
hang on,
real estate.
hang on, then let
Commercial
me-
real estate.
then
all
let me
day
bring
long is
this
gonna
up.
have some issues.
Think about
Major
this.
issues.
Nick Cage playing any movie that Keanu Reeves is in is essentially the same movie.
No. I've heard that one, but here's one
he's
for
amazing.
you. This is gonna blow your mind, maybe not
Very
Colt.
good.
Nick Cage as Leonardo DiCaprio in What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
I think
Overacting, just not like the charming, lovable character.
Yeah.
I mean, just overacting
Just
that thing.
terrible. With the stubble just coming right at the 3 o'clock shadow.
Stubble, full Tropic Thunder.
Looking like he did in Con Air.
Yeah.
Same, dressing the same.
And just not knowing.
Con Air was an amazing
and just
movie.
totally unaware of
How
what
did that
the
not
role
win
is.
an Oscar?
Oh, that's
Beyond
terrible.
that.
That's terrible. You know what? I think that's.
Sorry.
I think the fact that that's resilience enough. That's resilience enough.
And the resilience of the people listening is exceptional if they've made it
boy,
this
yeah,
far.
it
is.
And I'm proud of
Appreciate
you.
you.
And I'm proud of you all.
Oh, proud of all of you. All right, guys. Well, again, man, I hope you enjoyed this. If you're listening to us on YouTube, give us a little like. If you're listening to us on whatever podcast streaming thing you're on, give us a 5-star review. And we'll see you guys next week. And if you're going to move, remember, guys, keep moving forward. See you next time. Hey, it's John Gafford. If you want to catch up more and see what we're doing, you can always go to thejohngafford.com, where we'll share any links that things we talked about on the show, as well as links to the YouTube where you can watch us live. And if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, you can always follow me at thejohngafford. I'm here. Give me a shout.